Are all systems go, Captain? Aye, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
In the magic of Hollywood, let's give that another shot. There we go.
Now it's gone. Alright. So now we've got like a whole chunk of the beginning of the episode where it's just you fiddling around this thing. Why isn't the music playing?
No, I turned the music back off again.
Oh, alright.
And I turned the volume back off again. Come on, Burkoff. I'm a professional. I know how to recover, you know? Like when things go wrong, you need to know how to recover. That is the number one staple if you work in show business. We are in show business. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pixel Pies.
Who is that?
I am the replacement for McWumble. I am the mafia boss, the grandfather. You know, I'm all your fathers, your mother's fathers, your father's fathers. I don't know. It's so late at night. Who knows? Welcome to Pixel Pints, the only global gaming podcast where we talk about two great things, which is good beer and video games. I am hosting today because McWumble did what we always say, which is drink responsibly. He didn't do that, so he's not feeling too great, so he ain't showing up. At least he told us that before he went to bed, so at least he knew it going into the situation. But anyway,
He's so responsible that he plans when he's going to drink irresponsibly. Like he knows the night before. He's a proper chap.
yeah, exactly.
I think it probably depended on who won the rugby, right? Like that was the determining factor.
No, it also determined who was going to the Super Bowl. Let's be honest, right. This is the sorrows of the Tennessee Titans still losing the first round of the playoffs. You know, it happens. It happens, right? Anyways, I am your host, Mitch, here in not sunny LA. It's dark right now because it is 12 in the morning. Yes, so we might be a little funky because Burkoff and I are both at 12 in the morning. And Evan gets to be here at a decent time, and we get to be jealous of that, right? So I'm here in LA hosting. I am joined by Burkoff, like I said before, who is in Las Vegas. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been 2 weeks since I've been on, or just one?
Just one?
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, one. Yeah, because of the draft. Yeah.
Right.
Which some of you still didn't read the rules. I can't believe you guys didn't pick keepers. I was so confused.
I was like, oh, maybe enough of us didn't do keepers, and Keith's gonna be lenient on us, and no, he's just took the opportunity to be,
Extra ruthless.
Yeah, extra ruthless, extra rule master.
And joining us from Japan, we have Evan Piotrowski. How are you doing, Evan?
Good, Mitch. I'm happy to hear that you started working out more. I mean, I know that you play tennis and you're quite active, but it's nice to hear. You know, we only get one body, so it'll be best to take care of it.
I used to do my body weight for exercise, But recently I
Just
bought
totally fine.
I
Yeah.
bought exercise bands, and I think that's helped dramatically in regards to, because it's more targeting and like it's cheap to purchase those. It's not very expensive, and it's pretty much not, I just think not as effective, but it's pretty effective still as an exercise tool if you know how to do it right. So it came with ankle bracelets to be able to hook them to your legs if you need to. It's like it came with, it's versatile, so it works out for the most part.
I think it's also a good way to start, because if you start off with free weights and you're not used to proper form,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah,
can really
you hurt
hurt yourself,
yourself, yeah.
especially your lower back, if you're not doing machine work, which takes care of the lateral movement for balance, which you don't have to deal with machines. So yeah, in the past, I've actually hurt my back maybe twice when I lifted too much and either it was bad form or whatever. So yeah, bands are a solid way to start all that stuff. And body weight exercises work perfectly as well. I mean, the push-up is one of the best exercises you can really do. So yeah.
Yeah, I did torture myself last week though, because I do 3 segments when I work out. Who knew this was gonna be a workout podcast? But I guess we're going there for a bit. But anyway, I do.
Wombles shaking his head.
I know.
I can't believe again.
Maybe
these
he can
guys.
get some advice. He'll work off the thing that he's not feeling good with. To get a good workout and he all good. But anyway, is I break it into 3 segments. So I do ab and back as one section. So abs and back I target, and then I'll do arms and chest as one, and then another one I'll do just legs. So what I did to myself was I put leg day on Friday. Well, a friend group of mine wanted to play tennis, and I was like, okay, I'll play with you guys. Like I usually do play on Saturdays, but what they wanted to do also was like, are you available 2 hours before we have our 2-hour session to play tennis? So I did leg day. I was kind of sore because I was still trying to figure out how much weight I need to put on for all these workouts, because I'm still trying to figure that out. That's part of the groove. But my legs were already kind of sore. Then the next day I played 4 hours of tennis. My legs were extremely sore, and I still had to play tennis 2 more days in a row after that. And so it was like I was sore every day. But like I also learned that, you know, like you do want to push yourself to your maximum as much as possible and try to push past it, because then your new maximum is farther than what it was before. So actually I feel way stronger in the legs than I ever did. So it was great. Anyway, workout things for everybody to know. But we are Pixel Pints. Like I said, we talk about good beer and video games. If you want to follow us, we are on live on twitch.tv/pixelpints every single weekend. If you want to know when we go live, you can find us on Twitter at pixel_pints or on Instagram at pixelpintspod, which I know on both of those, I believe McWomble tweeted our draft. So if you want to see last week's episode, which we all had a fun draft selection, except Evan didn't join because Evan doesn't like to have fun, unfortunately. Fun sucker. Anyway, you can go check them out there. And then you also can check out our episodes archived on YouTube. Just go to Pixel Pints, and then you also can find them on any of your podcasting service. We're all on those audio spaces as well. What am I missing? Oh, I do have to make one brief statement. Last week, I made a brief comment about Bethesda Studios and saying the games that Starfield would be a great game, buggy, but a great game. And I take that back, because buggy means that it is coming from it, that a buggy has a negative connotation. I take those remarks and I scratch them off the record, and I like to correct myself. I retract it, and I want to correct myself to say Bethesda makes great video games, and everything they do is excellent. Nothing they do can go wrong. They are the greatest studio in video games.
I've never seen one bug in a single Bethesda game.
Never.
We're all in agreement.
Never.
Yeah,
If not, maybe they just don't come to me. Because I swear they don't exist. I think they're lying. I think people are liars when they say there's bugs in these video games. I swear to God.
I don't
Mitch
think
is the
Todd
one
Howard
that's,
knows what an insect looks like.
Right. It's never on the screen. It's never on the screen, right? So,
Mitch is part of you're part of the mod community that's fixing those bugs, right? That's how much you love. That's how much you love Bethesda.
Burkoff, there is no bugs.
Okay.
You're on something, bro. There is no bugs. Bethesda makes amazing video games that don't have any bugs in them.
I like it.
Anyway, moving on. We're going to talk about some interesting topics. But first, we have, wow, and I totally forgot to hit the buttons. Not prepped like I'm supposed to. This is where I man this is where I manny
the background.
Well, I didn't have it ready, so I was like trying to stall. You know the show business. Like make it fake it till you make it. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find the button. It's like last week when I put if people look, you can see my my OBS mistake. I forgot I had a trailer playing in the background during the time of when I posted our draft board right away. Like behind it, there's actually a trailer playing. And it's the Matrix trailer from back when we were talking about the Matrix reveal at the Game Awards. OBS is weird on some instances where you don't see those things play when you see them in the preview section, and then when you post it to like go into live. So I was like, something is wrong. I have to fix this. So that's what I was doing right now. But anyways, we're going to talk about beers, which I forgot mine, and mine is in my kitchen. Let me go get it. You guys talk.
It's all right. I can take over. So that has something to do with the shop this week that I've never seen before. Kansas City, Missouri Tank number 7 or Tank 7. It's
nice.
an American name. Yeah, it's an American saison, which, near as I can figure, because I did have a couple of these already, it's basically just coriander with a lot of hop, and I don't know if that's, the way that they're defining an American saison, but it's really good beer. Goes down pretty
peppery at all?
I wouldn't say peppery.
Lemony.
Well, coriander. I don't know how else to describe that flavor. But yeah, it's really difficult to pour too. It's almost impossible to not get a super foamy head on this thing.
Hey, that looks like a perfect pour to me, bud. What is that? 3 inches?
So, yeah, I actually quite like it. It's 8.5, so it'll get you there pretty quick.
8.5%?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like 4. They're supposed to be pretty light. That is an American. Of course.
Yeah.
American brewers always turn it up to 11. They can't help themselves. Like double what it should be. Not that that's a bad thing per se. To me, that's a proper session beer. But for someone who isn't paying attention to the alcohol and they like, oh, it says on let me this looks good, and then you go home, you're like, what?
Well, it's funny because I had a couple the other night, and yeah, normally like I would drink a saison or 2 and be fine, right? Because they are like 4.5%, 5%. Yeah, and I woke up the next day. I was like, why do I have a headache like that?
Oh, right. It was that 8.5% beer that I had 3 of. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it looks so. It's you've had it 2 days in a row. I'm guessing you like it then.
Yeah, I do like it, and I'll probably pick it up again. It's like I said, it's rare to see something from so far east out here. Sure. A lot of times it's local stuff, California, Colorado, Utah. Those are like the states that we see the most craft beer from. So to see something from Kansas City, I was like, yeah, I definitely got to pick this up.
Nice.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go, Evan?
You can go first.
Okay. Well, technically, I'm going second. Burkoff went first. Come on.
That is true.
We're the one that's up late, and you can't even get the order right here. Come on, Willis.
I'm thinking about classes tomorrow. My brain is all discombobulated.
Hey, I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah. Monday.
We have I'm almost done with these. I'm finally like getting to the bottom of the pack, which actually they're almost expired. So thank God I'm almost done getting rid of them, which is I'm still on the Golden Roast ones. So I was going to let you guys pick. Do I go with
You've been drinking these beers for like 3 months. Like,
because the pack was like, so the only way I could get like the combo, like get the 3 different flavors was it came in a 6-pack each. So a 6, 12, and then
you bought a case.
Yeah, I had to buy a full case. So it's like,
how are you not done with it yet?
Well,
It'd be like a night and a half for me.
well,
Yeah,
to be honest,
that's a weekend.
It's called moderation.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't really
well,
know how to do. So
what's
Mitch
the,
is,
well, the thing is, like, I like drinking on the show, and that's probably the most time I do it, because like all the other times I'm
Right.
really busy, and like it's not really smart for me because I have to get up so early every morning. That's not even worth being like, okay, having a beer, because then I'm not gonna be able to get my stuff done that night because I'll be too tired, and just it's the mindset. It's the mindset of chillax, and I don't have that chillaxing mode right now.
You're a good example for and a good foil for the rest of us.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
it
that's
works.
true.
So which one do
I-
I do, fellas? Do I go with a watermelon wheat ale with the honeydew and
I can't
cantaloupe, or do I go with the mango wheat ale?
I can't remember which one you liked better. I feel like you like the mango better, so I'd start with the watermelon.
The watermelon. Okay, I think I like them both.
And then
There
finish
was
with
actually three
finish
different
with the
ones.
one
There was
that
a
you
green
like,
one,
yeah.
but that one expired. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, and we're gonna do the master pour over the keyboard.
I like how
Yeah.
you're just playing with fire every week.
Hey, gotta
I
risk it to get the biscuit. I hope we get views out of that. Oh, that's a really bad. That's an Evan pour.
Look at
Whew.
yeah. Look
Whew.
at that.
That's an Evan pour. Yikesy.
Wait, no, that sentence was incorrect. You said that was really bad. That was an Evan pour. You
Yep.
meant to say that was really good. That was an Evan pour. So sift through the head there to find the beer, and
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I do remember the smell of this. It smells like watermelon candy. I do remember that. It got that.
Gotta get some on the nose because that's how they drink it in Belgium.
there you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. This one tasted like sour candy, like literally watermelon sour candy.
Is it what is the back end like? Is it kind of sweet up front, but you get more of a beer, like an ale, maybe a bit of hops at the end of it, or what?
It's the sweet and sour in the front, and then it's like got a slight weedy in the back.
Did I say hops? Wheat ale. Man, I haven't had a lot of wheat ales, to be honest with you. There is one from an Indiana brewery called Three Floyds, which is one of my favorite breweries, but they don't really distribute outside of the Midwest. I really miss them, and they have one called Gumball Head. Oh, it's the one I told you about with the cat with the black eye with a cigarette hanging out of its mouth.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a wheat ale, and it's really, really good. If
Okay, so that's what I'm. It's not necessarily the wheat, like because like it has honeydew and cantaloupe, and that's what I taste on the back end.
Okay.
So it's watermelon, and then I taste like honey, and like just some hint of cantaloupe, like just like that. It's like when you put the cantaloupe in the fruit bowl when you have all the other fruits in there, and it's like you eat a bunch of fruit and then you like put a little bit of cantaloupe in there, so you get that hint of cantaloupe, but like you're not a fan of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's what it tastes
fair.
like. It's like putting like a couple pieces of cantaloupe in your fruit bowl, so you always take a little bit of the bites after you take bites of other things. But still good. I think I preferred the. Oh geez, what was the green one? There's a green can. I think I preferred that one more than this one, so I will definitely drink this one after I'm done with this one because I think this is just too sweet.
so
Yeah,
Kirchhoff, you were right.
It's good
Yeah.
for it's good
With the
for
order,
the ladies that like want something that doesn't really taste like beer. Like this is going to be your closest bet. So and they want something sweet. So if they like their Mike's Hard Lemonade type stuff, this is the
Or
stuff
yeah,
for you.
or like Trulies or whatever.
Yep. I mean, here in LA, like the Truly's is huge. Like it's a thing that they drink
It's-
constantly. Like I go play beach volleyball, and that's what they bring is Truly's. So like I could bring this, and they probably would be just as satisfied.
Yeah, Trulies is big out here too.
It's not big in the Midwest. It's all about that Mike's Hard's Lemonade. That's what it is.
Yeah, That's pretty much
and
all I
wine
remember
coolers.
seeing in
It's
stores.
all the wine cooler industry out there.
Yeah.
And in Japan, it was Zima, but Zima's no more.
I know.
It took until 2021 for Zima to pull out of Japan. I can't believe it. No
Dude,
more
I was
Zima.
I wanted to order some from Japan just so I could see if it still tasted like I remember.
Right, like Zima in a can too. It's so weird. It's like some
Okay.
time capsule, but it's on the shelf in a supermarket. You can
Right.
buy it.
All right, Evan, what are you drinking? Oh, actually,
Yeah, what do you
before that,
got?
I do have a snack. If you've ever seen these, Evan.
Those aren't Takis, are they?
No.
They don't have an English translation title on the front of it, so I'll have to ask my roommate if he knows the translation. But it's one of our snacks we get at the Koreatown grocery store, which actually I'm moving, guys. Little as you know, so I'm going to Koreatown, so we'll see.
Oh, really?
So
Cool.
so I'm gonna be like 5 minutes down the road, which is basically closer to Koreatown. So that will be more fun. So I get to have more fun adventures in Koreatown
Nice.
starting next month. I'll tell you more details off podcast. But what are you drinking, Evan?
Actually, I just noticed I brought the wrong beer up. So, let's, I'm gonna take a trip downstairs if you guys want to talk.
I feel like I should play that. I should
I
play
like,
that.
I like how he always plans this shit and then like
It's an episode of a TV show of Evan to be like, let's go down to my basement. Whoa.
I am drinking. I actually don't know if,
dude, are you in a new place?
what?
Are you in a new place?
I'm in my house. I bought a house.
You didn't tell us this.
You didn't tell us you moved in
I
it
didn't
yet.
mention that?
Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
you were trying
I
to buy
moved in
one.
on,
Because
moved in
literally
on
your
Monday.
backdrop looks almost exactly the same, except the fridge is on the other side.
Well, I was like,
That's the
since
only
when-
reason that
since
threw it
when did-
off.
Since when does he have it upstairs? I'm like, what the hell?
yeah, I bought
Well-
bought a house. I moved in,
All right, well, dude,
last weekend.
what is it? Kampai?
To the house.
I'll buy it.
To the
Yeah.
Kampai.
Yeah, congratulations.
Sorry, I
dude.
don't own a house. I now own a bank, a shit ton of money for the rest of my life.
We just
So,
refinanced on our place, so
Hey,
I know how
hey,
you feel.
capitalism.
Yeah. So check this beer out. So this is Asahi, and you know Japan loves their
Yeah.
gimmicks, and that extends all the way to beer.
Hold the
So
can
basically,
closer.
what Asahi did, yeah, sorry,
There you go.
it's ridiculous with the text on this beer. This is such a hideous design. So basically, it's explaining what this beer is. Actually, I think this side is slightly less ugly, but also has way too much text. So the whole gimmick to this beer is they wanted to recreate like a frothy giant mug of beer
Right.
in a can. So,
So the whole top comes
the entire
wow.
top pops off, and then you get this. Look at that! This nice jiggly, frothy head on the top there.
I love how it's
and
quote
actually-
unquote dry. It's like it's giving its own self a review. You know, like when it posts the
Dry.
review being like top 10 game of the year and it has quotes around it. This is where it's like
Yeah.
reviewers said it was dry. Like that's what
So it's the auto Evan pour.
Yeah, you don't even have to fuck it up. The can does it for you.
oh,
So the dry Pilsner style, a very, very dry Pilsner lager style, is the most popular style in Japan. From Germany, and just it's stuck, and that's basically the only thing you can find on shelves. But the craft beer scene is getting bigger and bigger. But the reason that, it's so popular that Asahi put it on their can. It's called Super Dry. I don't know why it's in quotations, but back in the 90s, there was something known as the Dry Wars, and it was between Kirin
wow.
and Asahi, and they were trying to vie for the top spot in Japan. And so they were just pushing like, we have the driest beer. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't want to be drinking. Am I drinking sand or liquid? I'm not too sure here. But
why in you saying that makes me think of Beast Wars and thinking the Predacons versus the oh geez, what are they called? The Predacons and the Jesus, what were the good guys called? It's not.
I don't remember. Yeah,
Oh, the
Transformers
and
Beast
the-
Wars.
Beast Wars. What was it? Predacons and the.
It's the something mammals, right? It was a play on the word mammal.
Raptors.
Oh, now I gotta look this up. The stone cannot go unturned, and this is where I wish we had someone in chat.
I will say though, that I think the only reason they went for Beast Wars is they were sitting in a meeting. They're like, all right, we need Transformers for the new generation. And some guy said Optimus Primal. And they're like, that name is so good. We're going to build a whole show around it.
Maximals.
Instead of cars, they're going to be animals.
Maximals,
It's the perfect name. It's the perfect
See,
name.
I'm sorry, but
you-
total respect. Beast Wars was the best Transformers of all the Transformers that they had released.
For me, it was. That was my childhood.
That was
It
me.
wasn't
not the best,
It wasn't the
but-
I even
best,
loved.
but
I even loved Beast Machines. Like even that stuff was like good TV to me. I loved the aesthetic for both of those shows.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but I did enjoy it. I liked the terrible CG.
Oh, it's
very-
horrible.
It was very
Have you
early.
seen it recently?
Yeah, it's very early CG.
Oh,
For sure.
it's great. It's great stuff, man. I even loved when I was a kid. I got Waspinator, and I remember I
had
was
all
so
of them. I had the cheetah one. I had
Cheetor.
Yeah, Cheetor. I
do remember that. That's Evan's moving around again. I swear, we're in a music video and we just don't know it. With Evan just being like, singing around as he zooms around the house. But I do remember as a kid, I could not make him transform myself. I had to ask my parents to do it for me because it was too complicated for me to transform him. Oh yes, that's right. Evan needs to show off. He has black plates on his PlayStation 5. For one that has one, insider baseball. I'll tell you something later. But yes. So that is all of us with our beers.
I have another one too, but I'll save it for a little bit later.
Okay. So this week we're actually kind of talking about two topics, like a mini one, and then we're like going to the big one. So the mini one is kind of what we've been playing lately, which kind of funny for me. It's not a new game. I'm replaying an old one with some new DLC, but I do want to show off something new with it too. But we're gonna go on what we're playing, and then we're gonna talk about retro games and kind of just how you prefer to play them, because there's so many ways to play retro games, and especially with the talks about Spartacus, which is PlayStation's potential streaming service coming into play. We kind of just wanted to bring up of like, oh, how would you prefer to play retro games and old games? So Evan, do you want to go first on what you've been playing?
Sure. So, because I just moved for the past couple weekends, that's why I couldn't be on the show.
Are you in the bathroom?
I hadn't. Is it echoey in here?
A little bit, but not bad.
A little bit, but not bad. I just had to ask because it was slightly echoey, and then the aesthetic looks like you're in a bathroom.
You got that crank window. Yeah.
Yep, that's why.
This is a very common Japanese window where it's like reinforced because of earthquakes, and it's you can't really see through it.
Gotcha.
This is actually my room, which I'm setting up. I have like a mechanized standing desk that I'm going to put together. I ordered the butcher's block, and
Nice.
I've got all my nerdy stuff here.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the
So
reason
you're gonna have a studio, dude, for the podcast.
yeah. The reason is that there's no attic, so the ceiling is in line with the roof. So the ceiling is like 20 feet tall in here. Like I couldn't even.
Right.
You couldn't touch the ceiling if you were on my shoulder, so it's a bit echoey.
Oh, so you can't
I'll
jump,
have to figure
jump.
it out.
Mitch says, "Go yeah, jump." You need to get the cobwebs. You gotta jump.
The sad thing is you will never see Her Majesty again. She's not going to walk behind me or in front of me. I have my own dedicated space for the podcast, and we don't have to bother each other.
Oh, come on. Her Majesty's
Those were
Her
fun
Majesty's interminglings was some of the best moments of the show. Because
It's actually weird because
we would create our own commentary around it.
well, every time I was on the show, like I think I had mentioned it on Discord where we were essentially in the same room all the
Right.
time, unless you were in the bathroom or the shower. And in Japan, this is kind of a given that you're in a small space. But this house is quite big. It's like 3-bedroom house. It's got an upstairs and downstairs. The living room is pretty big, and it's weird being in a space this big because I've been in small Japanese apartments for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not complaining at all. I'm really looking forward to. I'm gonna paint in here. I'm gonna put up shelving and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. But going back to what I've been playing is I'll keep it brief. I haven't played much, but I got into this weird after January hit. I got in this weird, kind of strange feeling of not knowing exactly what to play and kind of it was almost like Netflix where I was scrolling through all the games. I'm like, man, I don't really feel like playing anything. And then I went all the way to my library, and not just the games that are installed on the PlayStation 5 because you can only install 2.5 games on there. And then I saw Plague Tale Innocence, and I'm like, oh, this must have been a PlayStation Plus game that I downloaded or that I forgot to download, but or at least claimed it whatever month. I'm like, I remember people saying pretty good things about it. It's kind of like a triple or a double A game. It's got a bit of jank, but
high-end double A.
Yeah. So yeah, made by Asobu Games, a French developer. I really like it. I think it has a really killer opening. That it's a tutorial, but it's got context. It introduces the characters really, really quickly, and it gets right into the action. I was really impressed with how quickly they teach you the mechanics, and they're like, all right, let's go, get the story going. But also hits a very important part in the story where you and your brother are set off on this adventure to try to escape the Inquisition in 14th century France during the 100-Year War, and it's got the rat tech. That's what everyone knows about this game. It's got these giant
swarms.
Now I have to ask: have you finished the game yet?
No, I have not. I think I'm close to it. It's one of those games where you're happy that it's only going to be about 8 hours or so, because that's enough at this type of game. But it's third person, kind of lots of stealth based. Throwing stuff to distract guards to get around, and then there's puzzles with the rats where you have to figure out how to throw fire from your sling to light torches so that the rats move away and all this type of stuff. Story's really interesting. The characters talk a lot when you're moving through areas like in Uncharted, but the dialogue is really, really good. It's one of those games where you expect it to be bad or at least forgive it if you're going into it knowing. And cheesy, right, just bad line delivery. Also, the boy is quite small. He's 5 or 6 years old, and you think he's going to be extremely annoying. And he is, a little bit. But the dialogue between the sister and the boy are really good, so... Oh yeah, I really, really like it. And now that Plague Tale Requiem is the next game coming out this year or next year, I'm looking forward to it because I really, really enjoyed this game. I know that O-Taps had said he thought it was okay. And I totally get if someone walked into this game thinking, or at least... walking away from it thinking it's okay, but I don't know. I really, really like it.
I'll wait to hear. I'll wait to hear your opinion when you finish it, because there's something that happens near the end that one is I think awesome, but then also I think the final level stretch. It introduces the game. I've always said this. The game does a really good job of introducing new elements to the game as you go on, and to create smarter puzzles for you as the player to complete. My one gripe about the game is on the final normal level you're going through, you get introduced to a new mechanic, but you're only using that specific mechanic throughout that entire time. Whereas I wished that the game tried to find a way to combine more of the elements together to make more interesting puzzles, because you have all these skills, and I didn't feel as if I had to use them all to get to the final endpoint. I was just using this one new skill. Understandable and justifiable why the new skill was there, But I felt as a player, I was like, oh, I've learned all these skills. Why can't why aren't you challenging me as a game to use them all? Like, this is the opportunity. This is the final level. Do that. But there's something really sweet that happens near the end of the game that I do want to talk to you about once you're done. So like, let me know when you're done, because I already know what my quote's gonna be, and then you're gonna be like, I get it.
Did you like it overall, Mitch?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I think it was
Okay, yeah.
I was more on the higher send than OTAPs. I mean, I understand why OTAPs would call it a good game, not a great game. For me, I would consider it a great game. I think the dialogue's really well done. The animation's really well done. Like we kind of said, it is a higher end double A game, which I think really shows. I mean, you could mistaken it for a triple A game and just think of it as something like the Order 1886 in that type of realm, even though it's not, which is shocking.
It looks really great, yeah. But sometimes you can see the seams when like the AI is a bit jank when they notice you when you're not supposed to doing stealth stuff. But yeah, overall, I really like it. Sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine. I'm really curious about this game, so I can't play it because my wife is deathly afraid of rats, and just like
Then you really not like the end of this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, well, if I ever do play it, like she's got to be like out of the house or whatever. So that's one of the reasons.
I wonder if there's a feature on it, like in what's that one game, Grounded, where if people have arachnophobias, they can get rid of things on the spiders, like its legs, its face. I wonder if with the rats you can like get rid of the noises, turn it into the potatoes or something. You know, that might be an interesting feature.
A potato killed my family when I was 5.
No, all right. So this is a off the topic story. What's funny is, so my wife used to work for a breakfast place here, right? So she had to get up really early on the weekends, and she would get up at like, I don't know, 4:35 to be there to open for this breakfast place. And we actually had rats at one point in time, and she woke up, turned the lights on in the kitchen, and saw a rat and just freaked the fuck out. And I can still like hear the scream that she made, and like me getting out of bed, like what the hell is going on so early in the morning? And you know, and then her explaining this to me, and I'm like, I don't see anything. Like, where did it go? Type of thing. Anyway, we got an exterminator. Yeah, we got an exterminator.
That's a wrap on the day, man. You just go back to sleep.
Right.
You just lock the door. You put something underneath the door to make sure no rat gets through, and then you call the exterminator in the morning.
Very, very brief aside. Go ahead, Matt. I just want to add something at the end there.
No, so I'm just really curious about the breakdown of the mechanics of the game. So I love puzzle games. I casually enjoy stealth games, and I enjoy walking simulators when they're good. Mm-hmm. It seems like this game is sort of a mix of those three things. Is correct? That accurate?
It's a stealth walk puzzle simulator, and the puzzles are
a good job of balancing.
And I'd say the puzzles are above average to your average like puzzle game. So like there are some that are trickier, and do actually make you think instead of being like, oh, I know the solution, and just like walk by each one and do it pretty easily. There's a couple that did have me think for a minute or two, but they were not stumpers. There was no stumpers in this game where I was like, I don't know what to do.
They introduce, in the beginning, it's torches, and the rats don't like light. So if you have a torch, you're safe. And you think that, at least I thought maybe that's all that they were going to do with it, but they give you interesting ways to move through environments with fire. It's not just one thing, so it keeps adding different mechanics. Like, oh, this is how I move. I get rid of the rats in this section, and they keep adding stuff. So, I didn't expect much going into it, and I think maybe that helped with how I feel about the game. But I don't know. You could just try it out if you have it for free on, I don't know, Steam, or if they'd ever had a sale and you accidentally bought it or something like that.
I think it was on Game Pass at one point in time. I don't know if it still is.
I think it still is.
Yeah.
It might be.
Oh, no.
That's an Evan pour.
That's an Evan pour.
Yeah, there you go.
Congratulations. on the Evan port. Okay, moving on. Burkoff, what have you been playing?
It's all day today. I played the original Fire Emblem because I bought that when Nintendo released it for, I don't know, $10 or $15. The digital version that they finally did an official translation for the Nintendo Switch. I didn't buy the collector's edition because although that would be cool to have a glass NES cartridge, the fact that it didn't come with a physical game cart for the game, I didn't opt for that. I just bought it on the eShop. But yeah, that's what I've been playing, and so that's kind of sort of what informed why I wanted to talk about retro games and how we like to play them and what our setups are like and stuff. So I don't know if you guys want to transition into that real quick, or Mitch.
Not until what I've been playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't try to segue when you can't do that.
Do you see how easily that 8.5 went down?
You're not the host, bro. When you host, you can do the segues, but not in this place. Not up in here. All right.
Technically, Mitch, you were supposed to talk about your game first, and then we were supposed to end on Burkoff, but you can do whatever you want.
Excuse me. I'm trying to be a good host and talk about other people before myself. I'm not a selfish bastard.
So all right. So what's the old new game that you're playing? The old game with new DLC.
I've been playing Horizon not Forbidden West. Holy cow, that game's not out yet. I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
You lucky bastard.
No, I've not touched that.
Frozen Wilds.
I know. Forbidden West, actually, reviewers do have copies of it. They just can't talk about it.
Yeah.
But Zero Dawn, yes. I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I just wanted to familiarize myself with the game. I haven't played it since, 5-6 years ago when it first came out, and I was guesting on Evan's podcast. Now look what he's doing over here. Times have changed
since that first.
Oh yeah,
since 2017.
Yeah, since 2017 when it was you, me, and Vin. We'll get to Vin at the end of the show. Trust me about that one, in a good way. But it was you, me, and Vin on Podcast Reload, and you played Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, your game of the year, which I think is not game of the year, overrated game of the year. And then what was it? And then it was Vin played Horizon, and I was playing both. So we talked about it and just went through each game.
Yeah, you were the only one that had played both.
Yep, I'm the only one that touched both. So my opinion mattered more because I actually played both and didn't stick on one opinion and saying, "Oh my God, Zelda is the best thing ever," because it wasn't.
Mitch, very very quickly. At one point, because we were running out of people to talk with from Sifted. One time, Vin had said, he's like, you know what? If we run out of people, we should have a third person on the show. And he was like, and I think Mitch is a good fit for the show if we were to have 3 people. It didn't end up happening, but just so you know, Vin at one point had recommended that you be the third seat on Podcast Reload.
Vin's got good taste. I trust the man. He's great.
What can I say?
So I haven't played it since then, and wow. This game is still great. The game is great. The game is beautiful. I was like, wow, this game still looks really good. I was coming into it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember the game looked good. And I was like, and when we played all these great games over the last 5 years since then, we've had God of War, we've had, The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, we've had some beautiful games. Horizon still holds up. Holy cow. I was shocked on how much it still held up in regards to how beautiful it looked. It still plays amazing. And so I hadn't played the Frozen Wilds yet. So that's my second reason why I picked it up, because I heard the Frozen Wilds was amazing. So it's actually the whole collection is on the PlayStation Store for $20. So if you've not purchased and haven't played it, just buy the collection for $20. You get the whole game plus Frozen Wilds. So I literally started that Frozen Wild section because I wanted to get to the whole point where you get to the last story beat before you finish the game. And then I was like, okay, I'll tackle the Frozen Wilds right before I go to the end game, because I was like, I'll finish it all, tie it up with a bow. Then I realized, smart enough, the game did this, but I still went against it and said no. I was traveling to the Frozen Wilds, and one of the characters that worked with you throughout the game, I forgot his name off the top of my head. I think it was Zed or something like that. It's the guy that
Mohawk.
No, it's the guy that the bald black guy from Fringe.
Oh, is it
he's also the concierge in the John Wick movies. But anyways, he's
Same actor.
Same actor. Yeah, same actor. So he he is speaking to me and being like, you need to save the world. Like, you don't need to be doing this at the moment. And kind of in a way was telling me, you don't have to do this. You can actually go finish the story, and you're supposed to do this after, because I can understand why. Once I got there, it's not very much connected to the story of the first game, which is also a really interesting conversation to have in the future, which is, should DLC only take place in future and not in the middle of games? So when you look at it, when you play things like
add that to the Google spreadsheet.
Yeah,
right.
So
That's a good topic.
I mean, McWomble will do it for me because he listens to the show every single week. So McWomble, please put it on the spreadsheet for me. And then he's gonna message me and say, he's gonna message me and say, do it yourself. But anyway, I just, it's an interesting conversation to have, which is, should DLC always take place after the game? Because something like, this, where it's like, I can access this while I'm playing the main game. So if the intent is for me not to be able to play it after I finish the game, why give me the ability to access it before I go beat the main game? So there's that, and I know things like Mass Effect has certain missions that literally are supposed to happen in the middle of your adventure, but it makes no sense of why do it after. So then you have to play the whole campaign again, and maybe that's their incentive. I don't know. But anyway, brought up an interesting point. But anyways, the Frozen Wilds is really good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm thinking about 2.5, 3 hours into the plot there, and it is very separated. It's still really good though. The new machines are awesome. I like the aesthetic of kind of having the frozen lands. Also, I'll say it because the game is 5 years old. So if you haven't played it, boo-hoo to you. I'm going to spoil a little bit for you, which is you can get this really cool armor at by the end of the game, near the end of the game, which is it's what they call ancient armor. And so what happens is it provides you a force field of protection. So basically it's you 2 health bars. So one of a shield, and then it takes down your health after that. And smart enough, the game in Frozen Wilds, once you get to Frozen Wilds, there are moments in the game where there's an actual machine that can deactivate your shield. They knew you were going to have it. And so then they intentionally found ways to make it where you didn't feel like you were unstoppable, where it did hinder you if you did have that armor, which I think was really brilliant, because I think you could easily go into that level and be OP to the max, even though most of those beasts are at the highest level. But I think
all those beasts whoop your ass, man.
Yeah, they whoop your ass. And so having that shield really does help. But I loved that it had these pulsating beams that in certain areas at certain moments that would negate your shield, which I think was awesome. It brought tension back that I was not having because I was so OP with having a shield and all this badass gear. So I thought that was excellent. I really, really liked that. And that was just something that stood out to me instantly. So I'm really liking it. I'm really trying to push to finish because I want to play Sifu in a few days. And then I also got to play the Horizon. I'm moving, so I might have to hold off on Horizon until March. So we'll see. But I'm super pumped. The other thing I wanted to just point out, so I was cleaning my controller. This is just... So my PS,
as you do, as
one does. So I think it was I can't remember why. I just on the back I was seeing a lot of in the groove area. I was seeing a lot of grime,
gunk.
Yeah. So I took I have those gunk. I have those toothpicks, toothpick flosser things. So I just took the toothpick pointy part.
You bend it out and
and I did it. I went into the crevices and started to take out all the dirt. That was a bad mistake. Don't ever do that, because what happened was the sticker was starting to come off. And so what happens is when I'm holding the controller, I feel the sticker coming off on this finger, and it was annoying. It bugged me so much. Like you have no idea. It was bugging me so much, and I was like, I don't want to rip this off though, because when I ripped it off, the feel on this area feels funny now, and so like I can't even hold this controller anymore. So I had to get a new controller. So I wanted to show it off because I do like it, and I got it for like $35 on Amazon. So the best part, it's USB-C, so to connect it, so it actually charges way faster.
And it's for the PlayStation 4.
Yes. So this is for PlayStation 4.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like. So it's got all the features that you get with a regular PlayStation 4.
The regular DS4.
Yep. It's got the speaker, it's got the touchpad, and then like I said, it's instead of the
Interesting.
it's got a USB-C port. So actually I can charge it. My phone is charged by USB-C. So actually I can charge this with my phone charger, which is next to me.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't have to
Sorry, for audio listeners,
yes,
people that don't have any video, it looks like a Switch Pro controller in how like thick it is, a little beefy, but it's kind of like,
I would say it looks more.
It looks like a Ford Fiesta, maybe.
No,
like a red Ford Fiesta. It's got the red and the.
What I would say, it looks like it looks more like your PS5 controller. Grab your PS. Go get your PS5 controller. Let me look at it. Let me compare.
What's the company that makes it? I'm curious.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because back in the day, Mad Catz was the fucking third party.
I can't.
Yeah, Mad Catz. CATZ. How'd they get away with that?
You know what? I have these.
It was a different time. Mad Catz. What a stupid name.
Keenness. The controller.
It's called KENNEAS. It's a
Keenness? That is one
Keenness
alphabet letter away from.
So, but the other thing that was fascinating, the other thing that's fascinating is that there's actually 2 additional buttons on the back that you can program.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So there's so for me, it became tricky. You do have to program them individually, and they're not programmed by the game. Like you have to reprogram them based off the game you're playing, which made it difficult at times. So at first I did find it for Horizon. I would use them for the time I had to click down on the thumbsticks. I would use these instead, which actually came in handy that way. But then when I went to go play other games, I'd accidentally tap these buttons, and then I would do things that I didn't want to do. So I just turned it off. I will say it is way lighter than all the other controllers I've ever had, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I wish it had more weight. The sticks on them. So I did play the PS5 before, and I got to play Astrobots, and the trigger is a lot stiffer, and it reminds me of the PS5 controller. With the it doesn't have the same mechanic in regards to like resistant sticks, but it feels like that for how thick it is and how heavy it is. And the only other issue that like I had to like learn to work around is these sticks are so much lighter. So it is very, very I have to be a lot more subtle with my movement. So I ended up having to adjust the sensitivity of the axes on Horizon to get the aiming right, because it was just too light.
How is it compared to the PowerA Xbox controller? Because that's the one you use for your PC, right? And that has the little buttons on the back too.
Oh yeah, you mean this one?
Yeah.
Well, this one's an actual Xbox controller though. Like I don't think it's made by a third party. Or is it?
Are you sure?
Oh no, it is PowerA.
Yeah, because you described it to me, and I was like, "That's the same one That's the one that I have. I actually have it hooked up to my Xbox One.
The sticks are way lighter. The controller has way more weight to it compared to the other one.
The one complaint about this PowerA controller I do have definitely is, so on the back here, sorry for the people on the podcast that are listening audibly, I'll try to explain it, but on the back there's these little widgets that I can slide on each side, and I think they're prerequisite settings. So you can have 3 settings on this controller, but the issue is when you put the controller down sometimes, the slider slides.
That's weird. Mine doesn't do that.
And so when I pick it up, sometimes I'm trying to hit the triggers and the triggers aren't working. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like, I was trying to play Forza once and my car wouldn't move right away in the beginning of the game. And I was like, I feel like I should be going faster than this. Like, if I'm pulling the trigger all the way down to go, I should be going, right? And then I find like, oh, I need to push this thing all the way back because somehow it got pushed down. So that's my only hiccup with this. Comparatively, like this one only has 1 setting, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I like them both. I mean, they're both good. I've enjoyed using these off brands. I haven't used off brand controllers since PS2, so I didn't use any off brands from my PS3, and I'm kind of happy I use this off brand, and I'll continue to use this off brand for my PS4. I'm actually really liking this controller. So yeah, I just wanted to share the new controller and let people know of like there are good alternatives out there if you don't want to spend I didn't want to spend the full price on a new controller. I didn't, because again, like I tried to like look ahead of time being like, can I use a PS5 controller on a PS4 and maybe just save some money that way and like, you know, just buy an extra controller for when I get myself a PS5, and that's not an option. So I was like, okay, what's the next best thing I can do? Off-brand controller. So there you go. Burkoff. That went a little longer than I expected.
No worries. I'm interested.
Yeah,
So,
you and off-brand controllers. Maybe we should have just did a segment of off-brand controllers, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because I have another off-brand controller over here for my GameCube, which is like it's like a see-through. So, like, you know, like there's this.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Okay.
So, you know, I'm full of off-brandies.
What the fuck is Evan doing?
Her Majesty is making him slave away,
Move some more crap.
move stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like he's done.
Only Her Majesty would give me some fucking homework to do in the middle of a podcast.
And
you were just talking about how she would
bragging.
never like interfere with the podcast because you're in separate rooms.
Yeah, I in my heart of hearts, I knew that was a lie, but I didn't think it would happen like 30 minutes after I said that.
All right, Burkoff. What's you get this party started. You're the one that wanted to talk about this topic, so
Yeah. So, we'll kick it off. Beer, which is Lagunitz's IPA. I haven't had this in a while, and I bought a 6-pack recently.
Nice.
I'm actually really happy with my purchase too, because I don't remember Lagunitz's really being all that good. It was just a hoppy IPA, but this one is, I feel like they've changed the formula. It tastes way more citrusy than it used to.
Oh, before you start, I completely forgot. It comes with earbuds for
The third-party controller?
with the third-party controller, so you can oh my god, what is going on?
This is not mine.
What?
This is Her Majesty's. Why
off
do you
the
have
rails.
this? What the fuck is this?
What is
It's an American flag shirt.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, Evan has came into the room wearing what looks like would be a onesie for the Olympics of an American flag that you would wear in the gymnastics center for your gymnastics routine.
You look like you're headed to a 4th of July party. That's
I was
By the way-
thinking the pool. That looks like a 4th of July pool shirt.
yeah, that could be that. Yeah.
You know, just
It's
one you want to remove
Sorry.
immediately, but it sends a statement right away.
yeah. Since there's no central heating cooling system in Japanese houses, you have to have individual AC units for each room, and there's nothing in here right now. So I'm going full Teddy Ruxpin. Boys,
Oh my!
it's fucking cold. Oh,
For people
feel
listening
so
to our audio
old.
ones, please go to YouTube and go to Pixel
Yeah.
Pints and watch this episode, because this one is not, this one it can't be justified listening to this one. It must be seen to be believed. Burkoff, let's get to the topic.
Yeah, let's go.
So I wanted to talk about the best ways to play retro games and how we prefer to play our retro games. I have well, I brought this with me for on the show. This is my Odroid Go Advance that I purchased recently. This is like a handheld that you have to put together that comes from Korea. And it runs Emulec, which is a version of Linux that has RetroArch on it. And so you can do all kinds of systems for it. And that's one of the ways that I like to play my retro games. But I also have like the Genesis collection. I bought that for the 360 when it came out. I bought it again on Steam when they re-released it. If you own a Nintendo Switch and you pay the $20 a year for Nintendo Online, you have access to a whole slew of Super NES and Nintendo games. If you pay the extra, you have the N64 and Genesis games. If you don't already have the Genesis collection for Switch. Some people are very enthusiast when it comes to their retro games, and they are, old school dedicated hardware, the original stuff. They got to have that. Some people prefer to have the newer, more advanced hardware. Like Evan, you were talking about with like the analog products, which are
Right.
very sort of refined luxury retro products. And so, yeah, I was just kind of curious, sort of what you guys, what your favorite ways to play old games were, and just talk about some of the different ways that you can play old games. Because I'm actually thinking about digging my old Panasonic TV out of my garage, which is the same TV that I had when I was played Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 on, and getting that hooked up, and playing those games again. So
For me, it's just it's. I don't care how I play them. I just want to play them, and like I guess for me, having it readily available on whatever hardware is currently available is what I would really prefer. Like if I had a PS5 right now, I want to be able to play all my old stuff on my PS5, because if you think about it, like as we've gone on through the generations, controllers have gotten better where they don't get worn down
Yeah.
as much. And I do have a PS2 right now. I do have a PS3. Like I literally have some PS3 controllers right here.
Within reach of the camera.
right.
Mitch. I love it.
Old staple, right? And so for
Yeah.
me, like when I'm when I'm touching my controller right now, which that sounds really dirty, but anyways, doing this,
Oh yeah, make it vibrate. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect it to go in that direction. Like this got 6-axis on it, not the dual shock. Anyway, the buttons are worn out. Like the X button. As these control, but I would say the X button isn't as worn out on this as my PS2 controller. So it's just like the controllers do get better and better where they don't wear out as much when you use them, the more you use them. So the issue with me of like, what I'd love to go play it back on my PS2. Sure. I'd love to play it on my PS2, but I think
Right.
I think there's constraints with that. You have to find converters for AV cords to get you to put it into HDMI, which there are some out there, but at the same time, it's a hassle, right?
And can be expensive.
It could be expensive.
Yeah.
And is it really worth it? Why do all that trouble when you could just play it on your new console, right? And you should just be able to put the disc in and it should work, right? Or in some fashion of the word. I mean, that's what Xbox does, and that's what they got right, which is, and everyone's like, why with this whole thing, Xbox brought in the conversation, which is not a bad thing that they brought into the conversation. It was because they had a lack of games, except for Bethesda, that makes amazing video games, and they come out with releases every single year, and they're amazing. Mwah, chef's kiss. But I don't understand why we can't just play our old games. It's just, I was literally having a conversation with a developer about that recently, and it was we were just reminiscing about how I used to have a PS3. I used to have the Fat, and I had and unfortunately it got stolen from my sister's boyfriend who robbed our house while she was dating him.
Jesus.
But the issue came into play was when that got stolen, they stopped making them backwards compatible. So I couldn't find one. And it was just so infuriating and frustrating because I already sold my PS2 and I was relying upon the backwards compatibility of that console. So it's
so you're in the camp. You're in the camp of they should carry it forward.
I think they should carry it forward or just make it accessible for you to buy. Like if you can't put the disc in, like I don't mind buying it a second time right now if the digital library transfers over. Like I'm so happy that they are making these remasters. Like I'm fine with that because they get to touch up the game a little bit. It does look nicer. Like I was playing some
extra features.
Right. I was playing my Prince of Persia game on my PS2, and because of the AV cables, what was happening was there was just a single bar that kept going down and down and down and down. Oh, sure. And it was messing with my image. And like I tried everything to make it fix and it just wasn't working. And it's not the same as if you plugged in an HDMI. It's not going to do that when you plug in an HDMI cable. It's like I am fine with us doing it that way because it makes the games better, right? It makes them easier to play, it makes them more accessible, and it makes them look better than what they were when we played them the first time, which is why wouldn't you want that, right? I don't know, these people are being like purists, being like, it's gotta be on an old CRTV. I'm like sitting in my living room and I gotta be wearing the shirt I wore when I was 12 years old and like, where's the Jiffy?
No one's ever said that.
Where's the Jiffy?
Personally attacked Mitch.
Where's the Jiffy Pop that I had when I was a kid, or where's the Big League Chew I was chewing when I was a kid to like go with it? I just don't get it. I really don't. I do love the importance of preservation of these consoles that we used to have, but to say of like there is such a fanaticism of putting on your old console on an old school TV and with the old controller and trying to live the glory days in that and then play these old games that way, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice, really, because you could get a better version of your favorite game.
I will say though, okay, so let's move this conversation to CRT TVs. I will say partially, Mitch, that isn't true only because
what isn't true?
That you're getting the best version of what the game looks like on modern
displays or
TVs.
Oh, sorry, I meant you could be, not necessarily you are, but you could be.
Sure,
most likely.
It really depends on what you right. It really depends on what you care about and how you're saying that there is a person who wants to play it on the actual console with the TV that it's designed for and so on and so forth. But there is a conversation to be had about CRT TVs and scan lines and S-video output versus sharp pixels, which is not what these games were designed to be. So if anyone's familiar with like retro scene Twitter, lots of people post pictures of sharp pixels, which is basically the clearest version of what the game looks like on, let's just say, a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 versus what it looked like on a CRT TV. And what happens is, because of CRT TV...
I hate to stop you there. I feel like you got that from me because I constantly retweet CRT bot.
It's probably you and the well-read mage. Also,
it's you. You are the one. You are the culprit.
was like, oh, I love these. I love those tweets. Like I'm always retweeting that shit.
Oh, it's great, and it's either you or the well-read mage, or maybe the combination
It's
of
both.
both of you. If you both like something, it'll
both.
appear on my feed. So it's probably you. So when these developers are making these games, of course they're looking at, like, they know what the pixels look like, but when they're designing these characters, they're seeing what it looks like on a Crt TV, and what the Crt TV does with scan lines and so on and so forth. I have no idea about the tech to get into any of the technical aspects of this, but it slightly blurs the pixels in a way that makes it, you know how like
It's like a softer
Monet,
image almost. Yeah.
right? A Rembrandt, which who am I talking about? Monet, Rembrandt, where if you look really closely, it looks like nothing. It's just dots on paintings of dots on a paper. But the further you get away, you see the full picture, and it's this amazing landscape of people in a park with trees, and it's really, really colorful. And what a CRT TV does is, you look at these pixels, it looks like a whole lot of nothing, but it's blurred in such a way, and how the scan lines work with the pictures, when you pull it away, it actually makes it look better than if it was sharp pixels. Mitch, I understand that you don't care about that stuff. In a way, I also don't care about it, but there are people out there that prefer the scan line version to this stuff, to sharp pixels. And
Well, no, I would actually,
Burkoff,
I would actually argue to you to say that I think the sharp pixel looks better.
okay,
Yeah, and
there's
some people
certainly
do
out
prefer
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Burkoff? Do you have a
I
preference?
so I tend to like the old aesthetic. And one of the things that I've been messing around with recently in RetroArch is all the different shaders that you can apply to the image to make it look like a CRT, which I think is really interesting because
Not all CRT scanline filters are created equal. Some look bad.
so back in the day when people first started doing this and like, oh, we'll do a scanline effect, it always looked horrible, and it was like, why the hell are you even doing this? But recently, some of the newer stuff that people have been doing to the image actually does replicate the experience pretty closely, and I think that it's a nice middle ground for people like myself and people like Mitch. Like, Mitch doesn't care about it, just fucking ignore it altogether. Versus,
He wants them crispy pixels, baby.
Well, I think
Versus-
if it was intended to be like that type of way, you probably could just put a filter on the image to make it look that way. Like it's an easy way to do it, and clearly the studios don't care about that, because I think if how should I word this? So when they're making let me give the example of Final Fantasy, like 7, 8, and 9. Like I played 9.
Nine is the
Nine
most recent one
was the
you
most
played, yeah.
recent one that I played. I do have a second reason about talking about that in a minute, but anyway, to get to what we're talking to, like when they were making those, they could have just added a filter, and I think they would have respected the game if they wanted the image to look that way, they would have done that. Instead of just making a crisp.
Final Fantasy 9 on a CRT TV, there was no need for a filter.
No.
looked different.
I'm talking about when they re-released it on consoles
right,
recently,
Steam
and it's a
mobile and all
clear
that.
image. It's not something that has that filter that they could have, and they could easily have done it, and they chose not to. So maybe the point is, these people like yourself, Burkoff, putting you in that park right there, putting you in that team, that you guys are caring too much about it, when maybe the developers prefer it to be the clear image and don't want it to be.
Have you seen what they've done with Chrono Trigger on mobile and the Pixel Remaster? They don't know what they're doing. I don't trust them to make good decisions anymore.
Well, with Square in particular,
But
yeah.
every game I've seen where
Square's the
it's
worst.
always been clear pixel images, and so it makes me question whether, what if the developers preferred it that way, and it's because of the technology wasn't available to them to make it clear pixels, that they always wanted it to be clear pixels.
Well, so all right, there's an interesting conversation here with regards to the emulation scene versus the industry.
Well, hold on. Before you get there, I just wanted to add another note. The reason why I like these updates that they're also releasing is they make them more accessible for players. And I'll use Final Fantasy IX as my example.
Yeah.
I did not want to grind through Final Fantasy IX. I enjoyed, like, I was like, okay, I've played all the old Final Fantasies before, and I don't have time to like go through this. I knew those games were very long RPGs. There's a lot of there's a lot of grinding that's involved to be able to get your level ups and then be able to work through the combat system. So what I did was I sped up the speed, and then I also changed the setting where my damage was 9,999. Which then allowed me to just go through the story and do all the quests and have fun in those aspects. And I did understand the combat system that was there at the time, and I didn't have to I didn't feel like I had to learn it and enjoy it, because I was like, I know what kind of combat system this is. I played all the Final Fantasy games, and it's not that much different. So I think it made it. So I think it made it more accessible for me as the player, which I really appreciated, because I don't know if I could have gone through that game if I didn't have the settings available.
Yeah, so I cannot harsh you for using that stuff. Like those elements of those games in the re-releases are godsends, especially for somebody like me that doesn't always have the time to go through these games again, but wants to relive the experience of them. So the quality of life stuff is very much appreciated, and that's part of the reason that I'm playing the original Fire Emblem on my Switch and not on my computer through emulation, because it's already got the quality of life stuff built in it on the Switch.
Yeah, I used to, and I only say I have the emulation version of a couple Pokemon games, but I have them because I bought them when I was a kid, so I do have ownership in them. I can't find them at the moment.
Yeah,
but anyway,
honestly,
but when I did that, I go through Pokemon and play it like 4 times the speed, and that's what we did in college.
Right.
Was like we would do that to have fun, because it's like we know exactly what's happening. We know what kind of combat system this is, and we're just trying to get through it, right?
Yeah, so I should say that most of the stuff that I've loaded on here, I own the physical PlayStation 1 discs, or like I own the Atari Vault on Steam.
I own everything I emulate, please.
No, not everything, but pretty damn near.
I mean, Burkoff, it would be great to find an emulation of our Tomb Raider games that are unplayable.
Right, exactly. So like, I bought those on Steam, and like a couple of them are not playable.
You can't even play them.
I have no qualms.
Why sell them on Steam? That is the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my life.
I just got my money. I'll happily emulate it. It's not a problem.
I guess. I was just shocked.
They got my money multiple times.
I mean, I'm waiting for my...
When I was a kid and now.
I'm waiting for my mom to send me my mom has a lot of my games still, so she slowly sends me boxes of games, and I'm still waiting for my Tomb Raider games, because after playing the first one again, I really want to keep playing them. So like I'm waiting for her to send me my disc with all the Tomb Raiders so I can go play them.
Yeah, so I don't know. So getting back to what I was saying, I think there's there's an interesting conversation to be had with where the emulation scene is at versus where the industry is at. So the industry is at the place right now where emulation was, I would say, 10 or 15 years ago, and that is they're releasing these products and remastering them to the same degree that we were able to with emulation, like I said, like 10 years ago. But now, like, you've actually got like these really impressive shaders that do make it look like it looked on those old TVs, and things like that. I think you'll start to see that stuff trickle into the commercial products, just because of the fact that people are actually putting time and effort into developing that kind of stuff in the hobby scene. It'll be interesting to see, like, if you can in the future buy, if Square Enix actually gets off their ass and wakes up and listens to their audience, if you can buy a copy of an old Final Fantasy and be able to overlay it so that it looks like it did when you played it back in the day. I think it's something that people would, be interested in.
I would be curious on a poll.
Sure.
I think I might poll our Discord on it. Just to see how
How
many
do
of
you,
the fellas would want. Well, actually, maybe because you're all older than me, you probably would care more about it than I do. And
Maybe not.
It might be an age type thing, because I have a feeling Liam wouldn't care.
No, yeah, Liam probably wouldn't care. Keith would probably give me shit. He'd probably side with you and be like, "Why do you want to, just fucking dig your TV out of the closet,
He'll give his opinion next week. You watch. He will. He always does. He always got notes. He's got notes.
All right, Evan, you bought an analog pocket, right?
Yeah, to be delivered by December of 2022. Yes.
But
I
you're
did.
excited. You're excited for it, right? And did you watch all the videos talking
I
about
did.
like how they replicated the screen and got all the pixel perfect stuff and all that? Have you dug into the tech at all?
For the price, I researched a shit ton of YouTube videos to make sure it was something that I definitely wanted. I think it was a bit too expensive, but it is one of those things where I know it's in 20 years time, it's going to be a very rare piece of equipment, and there's really nothing else like it. I have a Game Boy
Okay.
Advance, which was a modified version with the backlight, the AGS 101,
Oh, right.
I believe is the manufacturer number.
The SP.
Yeah.
That conked out, and I can't play any of my Game Boy or Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance games. Not that I do that often, but it is one of those things where the Analog Pocket is such a beautiful looking system, and it has so many options to play things that you just can't play anymore. And I'm not much of a handheld gamer, but when it comes to something like Game Boy games or Game Boy Color games, that is the way that they're supposed to be experienced, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah.
And although I'm not buying any of the other premium like analog systems that cost a lot of money, like their version of the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo or the Genesis or Mega Drive or even the TurboGrafx 16, which they've released. Hey Daisy, little, I saw
Yes.
that.
She's getting upset. Yeah.
Checking
Oh,
up
I
on
was,
you.
I thought it was someone in chat, and I was like, "There's no one in chat. What the hell are you talking
Hey
about?"
Daisy.
No, my dog.
She got excited. She heard me say TurboGrafx 16, and she popped in to see what was up.
Well-
You
Right.
talking about Bonk's Adventure?
Now that we're talking about
Um,
cats, my favorite cat video is one where there was now that you were doing this with your hands, I have to now.
I was gonna say we were not talking about cats. I'm pretty
Well,
sure
what
about that.
what ended up happening was there's a person being like, well, every time I type on my computer, my cat tries to type on it because it's trying to get my attention. So what it got its own little mini laptop. So it sits next to its master and it types on its own little keyboard while the master types at theirs.
Isn't that
Do what you got to
cute?
do to.
There you go, Burkoff. You,
Entertain
just
your
you need to
animals.
get your cat a little mini PC.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to do that. Yeah.
Your wife would probably think it's hilarious. Get some
She
headphones.
probably would.
Get some headphones to put on its head.
I guess speeding up some parts of this conversation, I think the retro mini consoles, like the PlayStation Mini and the Super Famicom Mini and the Famicom Mini.
Yeah.
I buy those, and I played all of them, and they're a nice, and people who want to play these things on a CRT TV, and that they're not necessarily enthusiastic about those systems, but it is a good avenue to play a compilation of generally well-received games from those specific systems, and they're really nice. Like if you like physical stuff and you're a bit of a collector, like I'm a
Right.
bit of a collector only because I don't have the room for it, or I never did until now. So I always bought like small shit
Small
was
things.
as much as I could do, and then like throw it in the closet. Now that I have more room, I might explore actually collecting stuff. But the mini consoles are like a nice avenue. They're not a perfect solution to all this stuff, but hey, if I can play Yoshi's Island on a mini Super Famicom with a Super Famicom controller, like hey, HDMI perfect. I don't give a shit. Like I'll play it even if it's not the perfect version of the game. Like I don't like Mitch. He's saying like I don't care about sharp pixels or whatever. To an extent, I don't either. I was just kind of bringing that stuff up, but
Oh, here's an ultimate question for you then, Burkoff, because it seems like Evan and I are in the boat of we'd rather be able to have accessibility to the game than to have it look like what it's quote unquote supposed to look like or looked like back in the day. Your preference, if you could either have the game available to you, but it was available in the old style of the CRTV, or not have it at all, what would you prefer?
What do you mean?
So like
Completely retro or nothing?
oh, sorry. I totally said that wrong. It's giving you what you want.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
absolutely.
No. I mean, you get the version, but it doesn't offer any kind of filter. It can't look like it was on the CRTV, but that's the only way you can get it.
All right.
Or
So generally,
you never would get it at all. And like
generally, I'm going to opt for convenience, right? Like I said, I'm playing Fire Emblem on my Nintendo Switch because it has the quality of life features. That shit's already built in. I can hit a button. I can share a screenshot. I can share a video clip on Twitter. And
hit that share button, baby. Share.
Yeah, I can't do that with an old console. That just doesn't exist.
Wait, they don't.
So,
You mean my PlayStation 3 controller right here? My red one, because I had a black one earlier. So more. I'm grabbing more and more. Doesn't have a share button.
3.
There's no share button. I don't.
The DualShock 3 is my favorite controller of all time.
I don't have a share button. There's no share button.
Yeah.
I got a select button. Is that real? Is that a real thing? I don't think it exists anymore.
What does that mean?
Or the start button. I don't think the start button exists anymore either. It's the options button.
Right.
Why did we get rid of the start button? Maybe that's another topic for another episode. Why got rid of the start button? Like, the options button is still the start button for a lot of games.
Yeah. Would have rose by any other name, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm slowly working my way towards some type of a hybrid setup for myself. Because there is a way to extract, like if you own the Genesis collection on Steam, there's a way to extract those ROMs. So technically you legally own it. You don't have to download it from a shady source. The same is true for the Atari Vault, which I also own. You can extract those out and put it on something else, another device that will play those games, and probably getting like a Raspberry Pi or similar device, and having it output to composite video, and using my old CRT TV. So it'll still be connected via Wi-Fi. So it'll have retro achievements. So I can have the achievements pop up when I play the game.
That's awesome.
And
that's how you got to do it.
And it'll have the aesthetic and the feel of playing an old school console.
Burkhardt,
that's sort of what I'm working towards.
You talking about this makes me imagine of you with like either your child or like your nephews or something being like, "Let me tell you about this, old kiddo. This is a recreation of the old school television of how things would look like back in my day, back when we were young whippersnappers just like you."
Another very, very, very confusing accent from Mitch Sikorsky. Not sure who you're trying to be, but
I'm here all day. I'm here all week. Okay. I'm here all week. Okay. Final question then to wrap her up.
Sure.
Tie it in a bow and all that fun jabogly. Jabogly is a real word in my brain. Anyway,
after 2 beers, it is, right?
I'm only on one, guys. It's just really late. It's 1:30. It's late. I'm tired too, so that doesn't help. Tired and I'm drinking and I'm not falling asleep. I'm totally here, but it's just like, whoa, focus. Anyway, wow. My question is, so it's actually a 2-parter. So it's the magical world of if you could have it the way you want it. Here you go.
Right.
What is one game you're like, I will not compromise. It has to look in the old style. That is the way it should look. That is the way it always will look. And then 2, what's a game you would be willing to compromise and say, I'm willing to have that look in the fresh pixely way?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. Evan, do you have an answer to those questions?
Actually, yeah, I do. I got.
I thought he went down. I thought he went down. For the audio listeners, he ducked down below the camera, and I thought he was hiding from the answer.
Yeah, thought he was escaping the podcast.
I know. Well, seriously, he's been running around and not being on camera for like half the episode.
Right. Dude, it took me 5 months to buy this house. I'm gonna walk through all these. I'm gonna annoy the shit out of McWomble by walking through every single room in this house.
Keith is on the chat, and he asked if you moved. Listen to the beginning of the podcast, McWomble.
Dude, on Friday, I got way too drunk, and I was with Her Majesty. I'm like, and I turned the music up with like subwoofer, and I started jumping up and down on the floor. It's like, I live in a fucking house. I can do whatever I want. She's like, well, not whatever. Leave me alone. Don't break my imagination. I'm like a small child. For some reason, I have two
hold on. When you were jumping around the house, were you listening to the song going, jump, jump, make you want to go, jump,
both look sealed. Too.
I probably should have, Mitch, but I was just I just wanted to test it out. I'm like, no one lives below me.
I'm disappointed.
I can do whatever I want.
That's a subwoofer song, man. That's a subwoofer song.
Yeah, I do have my record player set up here. I got to collect more records now.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Stay on topic.
To answer your question, I would say, a game like caught that in midair. Holy shit. A game like Secret of Mana or Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger.
Right.
I would like to see what they're doing with the terribly named 2D HD series.
Yeah.
With Octopath Traveler, and the next thing that they're doing is Dragon Quest III. Because that's one of the best-selling, most beloved games in Japan, and that's probably why they're re-releasing it. But this kind of 3D, 2D melding but it keeps the overall aesthetic design and the feel and the atmosphere of a 2D game, but basically just flipping everything up like a pop-up book and giving it depth. I would take any JRPG turned into that, like these three games for sure. One game that I don't think would work well with that is something like, I can't believe I have these, Super Mario 3D World. I would prefer this to be as it is. The only thing...
It's just Super Mario World.
Oh, yeah. Did I say 3D?
Yeah, you did say 3D World.
I'm sweating a little bit. But by the way, after the episode where I said Hefeweizen instead of Hefeweizen, and Erebus Jones is like, I think you missed a syllable. Dude, I was sweating. I was sweating so much. For all I purport to know about beer, to not even be able to pronounce the name of the beer is a bit embarrassing. There should actually be a Pixel Pints End of the Year Most Embarrassing Moment award, and that should be one of...
There should be a blooper reel, let's be honest.
None of us have the time to go through and supercut that shit.
So McWomble is talking live. We must listen to the McWomble. He says, quote, if you catch something, of course, you catch it in midair. You can't catch something off the floor.
My God. What a fucking pedantic
and
asshole.
Then,
go watch the rugby or something. Where's your hangover?
Catch something on the floor. And then, quote, what
is this show and tell bullshit?
Yes, show and tell bullshit. And I'm sorry, McWomble, if you watch the episode back, there's plenty of show and tell in this episode. There's a lot of off-camera show and tell.
It's a lot of
that's what this episode should be called. So I'm sorry for the audio listeners. You have not seen the real experience of this episode because there's a lot of show and tell today. Burkoff, the answer to my...
Sorry, one thing. I'm glad that even when he's not on the show, that McWomble he wants to preserve our mildly antagonistic relationship. So I do appreciate that. He's just trying to be consistent. So as much as I told you to go away and watch the rugby or something, I do appreciate you picking apart things that I say and do. So.
No, he should have made it earlier when I was making my my redaction. Burkoff, what's the answer to what are the two things? I'll make sure to make the name of the episode. Yes, call it show and tell, please.
Yeah, so I think Pixel games, anything from the 16-bit era and before, really benefits from having that
Give me a
CRT
game.
experience.
Give me a game. Come on.
I mean, I'll throw Final Fantasy VI at you because Evan already showed that off. I'll throw Chrono Trigger at you. I will throw Missile Command on the Atari 2600 at you. Centipede, and that kind of stuff. And anything that's from the 32-bit era and forward does actually benefit from a lot of the quality of life and like visual enhancement stuff. So yeah, there's the 32-bit Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and what is that, Resident Evil 2?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Biohazard.
What's the price on that? $10?
$1.
What?
Really?
This is also $1.
Get the fuck
This is
out of
also
here.
$1.
Damn.
This is before Japan realized that everyone wants to pay a shit ton of money for games, and you could get everything really, really cheap. They found out years and years later, and the prices have skyrocketed since. But I got all of these before that happened.
Wow. Okay.
Lucky.
There's Suikoden 2 for $1 as well.
All right, what's
No way.
what's the
Oh
game
my
you're
God.
willing to compromise, Burkoff? What's one you're willing to compromise?
Final Fantasy 7. That's the one I'll compromise on.
Okay.
I had high hopes. Like I thought remake was going to be phenomenal.
You
The
haven't played it.
graphics-
You can't say anything.
The graphics are amazing, but
You can't say anything about it. You played a demo.
I
Turn-based.
played the demo.
I
That's it,
understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
I like the game, but I understand why he doesn't like it.
I bought
No
I bought
compromise.
Star Wars Jedi Outcast on PlayStation. It was unplayable on controller without aim assist.
Oh yeah. Keith has mentioned that before. I have not bought that game because he said that he had such a fucking terrible time with it.
Now, before we wrap up this episode, Burkoff, do you have something that you can pull off camera for show and tell?
Well, no, I just have my
Oh, you did show
I
that. Never
showed
mind.
up, yeah.
Everyone had one thing for show and tell. That's good. That's good. That's
Right.
good. Teachers happy. Teachers happy. Show and tell happened today. It's a great class, everybody. Oh, look at all the amiibo. Oh,
It's
everyone.
only because he's in the new studio.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I got shit within. Man, I'm gonna pull a Mitch
Um,
every episode
So
because he will reprimand me for not keeping on topic and talking about utter bullshit.
Hold on. I got.
See what happens when he's not on?
It's got to be a Resident Evil 2, Mitch. Come on.
No, I got.
What do we got?
Final
PS3, Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
And then I got.
Oh,
Well, my mom smartly packed these.
all right.
Whatcha? All these games. So Mass Effect. Keith. I have Mass
Here's,
Effect for show and tell. I got Mass Effect for. I got Mass Effect for show and tell.
It's like
Screen
a
cap
random
this.
ass-
This
Be
has to
proud. Be proud of
Yeah.
me. I brought Mass
Yeah.
Effect for show and tell, Keith.
Just screen cap this. Yeah, this is gonna be the fucking image. I don't know if I have any
Look
other
at all
games.
this shit Evan spent thousands of dollars on that Her Majesty doesn't understand why.
I feel like my Colony Wars.
So as
Sure.
as everyone is showing off their stuff, I will tell you we are Pixel Pints. You can find us streaming live on twitch.tv/Pixel Pints every single weekend. If you want to know when we go, oh, Mass Effect wins the episode. Yes, it does, Keith. If you want to find us on know when we go live, you can follow us on Twitter at pixel_pints or on Instagram at pixelpintspod. Every episode is archived on Twitch, but also is on YouTube. Go to Pixel Pints and find us. This episode is a YouTube accentuated episode. I would say it's a must see. It's a standard. It's a standard.
You gotta have the video.
Yeah, you need the video today. I'm sorry. So audio listeners, I'm sorry. Go to the video. But you can find us on all the podcast servicers around the globe. Wherever you get your podcast, just look up Pixel Pints, and we are right there hanging out with you every single weekend. My name is Mitch. I'm hosting. It is Burkoff. It is Evan. Sorry.
All three of us.
Tickle in my throat. And I don't have the music ready, so I need to someone say something or Evan, show something for a quick second.
Here's my TurboGrafx 16 copy of Alien Crush. This is one of the best pinball games ever made.
Dude, what's the game? Silent something, where it's like a first-person dungeon crawler.
Oh, Silent Debuggers.
Is that
my dad?
And on that note, gentlemen,
my dad beat that game. Yeah, it's great.
We are out.
I started playing that, but it was hard.
It's super hard. It's super confusing to get through the space station level.
Yeah.
I could never do it. There's shit all over this room. Luckily, I don't have to clean it up. I'm gonna leave it this way.